All right, let's do the video for how to code your flower. First thing we're going to need is, let's get an on start, and we're going to need to set two variables initially when we do this. So we need to create a variable. One's going to be called degrees, and another variable is going to be called direction. And so the degrees variable is just going to be what degrees the servo is turning to. It can be anywhere from 0 to 180. And we are going to initially have it start off at 40 degrees, and we're going to have it rotate up to 120. If we have it go from 0 to 180, that can cause a mess up, so we'll just go from 40 to 120. The other thing we're going to need to set initially is our direction, and we're going to set our initial direction to 0. So it's going to rotate two directions. It's going to rotate right and it's going to rotate left. The right rotation we'll call 0, and the left rotation we'll call 1, and I'll show you that now. So next, after we've initially set these two variables to these values, we're going to, let's get the direction thing worked out. So we're going to have our logic. So if this is true, then it will run this code. So what we want to say is, if our degrees, in this case, our variable degrees, if it is equal to 40, then let's set the direction to 0 so that it turns right. And then we're going to duplicate this. If the degrees gets up to 120, at that point we want it to go back the other direction. So we're going to change that direction to 1. We're going to give that that variable a value of 1. So that's what it's going to do. If it's set to 40, it's going to go one way, which it is initially. And if it gets to 120, then it's going to start going the other direction. Now we need some more logic. This if true and else will work. And then if you notice, if you add these, if you hit the add button, it adds these in so you can get more of them. So now what we need to deal with is the light levels and the direction that it's turning, what we want it to do if that happens. So let's see. In our logic, we're going to need an AND statement, because we're going to need two things to be true for this to happen right here. So we're going to need our light level to be less than 40. So here we go, is our less, and then input has our light level. So if our light level is less than 40, that's one of the parameters we need. And if our direction is equal to 0 initially. So we're going to need an equals to, and our variable's direction. So if these things, two things are true, if the light level is less than 40 and the direction is equal to 0, we want it to do something. And the first thing we're going to want it to do is make the flower light up this particular way. I'm going to make it light up red and yellow like this. And then I'm going to need it to change its degrees periodically. So we're going to come in here and we're going to change that to degrees, and every time it changes its degrees, 5 seems to be a good number, so it'll go 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, and it'll keep working its way up to 120, and then once it reaches 120, it'll go to the next direction. And we need to tell in our advanced, we have this thing called pins, and we need the servo right pin A1. So here it is right here. So there is an A1 somewhere on your circuit playground that you'll plug into, and it is going to go that's going to be the degrees that it goes to. It can go anywhere from 0 up to 180. And we want it to read the degrees that we have in our variable degrees. So initially here, that's going to be 40. So we're going to go in here, we're going to grab the degrees variable. And so now it is going to go to whatever degrees is set to. So initially it's going to go to 40 degrees, then it's going to change by 5 and it's going to go to 45, then it's going to go to 50, 55, etc. So it'll work its way through and you'll have this change there. All right, now we can duplicate this one to make things a little bit quicker. We can put that inside of here. And now if our light level is less than 40 and our direction is going the other way, which is the 1, right? Then we want it to do something else. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to have it show the ring, but this time I'm going to have it flip. So there's a little bit different animation on this. So now it's going the opposite way. And we need to change our degrees again as this happens. But this time we're going the other way. We're at 140. Is it 140 or 120? 120. And now we need to go backwards. So we need it to go down by 5 every time. So now we're going to change degrees by 5. And once again, we need it to write that to the servo. So we're going to come back in. We're just going to say still at A1, and we need to set to whatever the variable degrees is. So that'll take care of that. That's those two. Let me think. Okay, so that's going to be turning one direction. That's turning the other direction. And then what does it do if it doesn't hit those two parameters? Then we want it to stop. So that can just go into the else statement here. So I'm going to go here, and when it is not following those parameters, the degrees and the direction, it's just going to light up, and it's not going to drive the thing. It's not going to change the degrees. It's not going to do anything. So by doing this, remember the code runs from top to bottom. So by doing this, it's going to go through, and if the light is shining on it and the light level is above 40, then it's going to immediately go down to this else statement, and it's just going to sit there in this yellow state. And then when that goes away, it's going to pick up where it left off. All right. So that, I believe, is everything you're going to need for your code. And now the video before this that you should have watched, it'll show you how to save it. But you just hit the share button, publish, copy, and then paste that into your document.